Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Friday the 16th of September 2022. In today's Millwall news, international call-ups. Yes, even though we have not been playing well, there are apparently 3 internationals in our squad. So this is from millfc.co.uk. Millwall's Charlie Cresswell has been called up. He's not Millwall's, he's on loan, but you know what it is. You know what it is. Millwall's on loan Charlie Cresswell has been called up to England's under-21 squad. The Lions loanee will face Italy under-21s and Germany under-21s on Thursday the 22nd and Tuesday the 27th of September respectively, as he continues his development on a national scale. Elsewhere, George Saville and Callum Styles have also received call-ups for Northern Ireland and Hungary respectively. The Green and White Army take on Kosovo and Greece in the Nations League, whilst Styles' Hungary will play Germany and Italy in the competition's final stages. Damn, that's pretty tough for them, but they did beat England twice, so not really. I think a lot of some teams have kind of given up on this Nations League thing. When it first started, it was an exciting. It's really just replacing the friendlies, and a lot of they didn't realise at the start. Now they've realised it. Like, well, yeah, is it really that important? It's competitive because friendlies were a bit drab and boring, so it does give that element of competition, and it's a league that goes up and down. You can be in the A League, B League. You can get relegated into the leagues below. So it is more interesting than if it was just a boring friendly, which has done, I imagine, wonders for ticket sales and television deals and whatnot. But I think a lot of I don't know if the players or the clubs or the FAs have sussed it out now and realised, yeah, it's still just friendlies at the end of the day. It's kind of dropping off a bit. But we will see. Still be interesting to see. I imagine if you've got Sky, you'll have access to most of these games. Although I think this time round, some not all of the games are on Sky. Other channels are getting involved. Some weird ones as well that you've probably never heard of. So I don't know when or where we can actually watch these Millwall players play. So be interesting. That's something to do next week when there's no game. Some still Millwall interest in the international scene. Now moving on to this from London News Online and South London Press. It's an interview with Zian Flemming. So Zian Flemming explains why wait for a first goal for Millwall is not causing him major concern. Well, it might not be causing you a major concern, but it's a major concern for a lot of the fans. We need some goals, and we need someone to score them. And you seem to be. You need a player who has a bit about them. So if you could start scoring, that would be really fantastic, mate. Zian Flemming came even closer to ending his wait for a first goal in Millwall colours on Wednesday night. The fact the club record signing is having chances is a source of solace. The 24-year-old attacker did nothing wrong with a strike on his weaker left foot against QPR, only to see the ball crash down off Zenny Dieng's crossbar and came back out into play. Flemming has been foiled with Burnley keeper Muric denying him twice at Turf Moor last month, one of those from a wickedly struck free kick. And Flemming was also not far away with a first-time effort in a 2-0 victory over Cardiff City, whipping the ball narrowly past the left upright. Whenever you don't have goals, it's always important to have shots, the former Fortuna Sittard player told the South London Press at the start of this week. I'm not saying that you have to shoot from all different angles, you have to be realistic. But if you don't shoot on goal, then you will never score. And if you don't score, but are still having proper shots in close, then you always know the goals are just around the corner. If you are having difficulty getting shots off, it is even more difficult to get goals. It sounds a bit stupid and simple, but me having a lot of shots just gives me the indication that I've been a threat to the opposition. I've been close to scoring, but the goalkeeper saved a few times, and against Cardiff, it was just wide. The ball fell a little bit in between myself and Vergi. He had the first touch, but I had a better angle to shoot. We both didn't have the perfect angle because the ball dropped a little bit in the middle. I had to shoot from a little bit behind me. I told him to leave it, but unfortunately it was just wide, by only a few inches. I know with my shot in both feet the balls will go in. It's football, sometimes they go just wide of the posts, and sometimes they go just inside. Of course, I will try to get them inside every time, or at least as many times as possible. I'm not really worried about it now. A knee ligament injury sustained on his debut against Stoke City ruled Flemming out for the next 4 matches, but that time on the sidelines allowed him to settle into the UK and properly move over from the Netherlands. At the start, there were a lot of bits to do, especially outside of football, but I feel pretty comfortable at the club, said Flemming. After my injury, I was really ready to get it going. The league here is just tougher. All the players we play against are stronger and quicker. In terms of mindset and style of play, in the Netherlands, everything is, in general, very possession-based. Everyone there is focused to have the ball and be patient with it. Here in the Championship, it is more regular to play direct. It doesn't mean you don't play with the ball. This is quicker towards the goal instead of patiently playing the ball around for a while. Indeed. And that's what it is. Get used to, get adapt, or go extinct, as they say to the woolly mammoth. Get on with it, mate. You clearly know what you're doing. You're a very good player, and if the fact that you're not scoring leads, at the moment, a lot of people are pointing the finger at Gary Rowett and his formations and the way we're playing, the way he sets up. But after a certain point, they might start turning the finger and pointing at you. Just if you could score, that would be fantastic, and maybe start tomorrow. No rush, though, you know. Now, this from a millfc.co.uk. A Millwall Football Club would like to thank St John leading volunteer Barry Hedley, who's departing the Den after 34 years of service this weekend. Barry has been a stalwart of the medical team for over 3 decades at both the old Den and the new Den. He's not only been one of the leading volunteers providing first aid, but he has also worked in the control room overseeing deployment medical team on almost every match day. Barry has also covered charity matches and supported St John's cadets at Millwall, who have gone on to careers in the NHS as doctors, nurses and paramedics. Thank you for your outstanding service, Barry, and all the best in the future. There you go, 34 years of service, so he's going to be retiring, I guess. Which is interesting. Will he still be going to the games? I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know if you know this about the St John's ambulances and what they are and what they do. He said the St John's cadets. Yeah, they have cadets. So if you got a youngster who's looking to be a doctor, looking to get into that kind of stuff, he can go to and join the St John's cadets. In the same way that you have Army cadets and Navy cadets and Air Force cadets and all that. Yeah, St John's as well. And they're basically now known as like a St John's ambulances, but it's all part. It stems from this Order of St John, which is kind of like a medieval brotherhood, kind of like a business, like what do you call them? Livery companies from the City of London. They've got like a place in the City of London in EC1. I think it's near City Road, Goswell Road, around there. Because I went to the museum there. They have a museum of the Order, the Museum of the Order of St John. Very good museum it was, and look in there and see that they do cadets. And there's a lot more behind just the St John's ambulances. That's what they do now, and because they use the money from that medieval trust fund to do St John's ambulances, stuff like that, charity work. And we decided to get into like the medical charity work, and that's what they do now. So yeah, so this guy Barry Hedley been working at the Den 34 years. I believe it's voluntary as well. He hasn't been paid for this, so well, they did get to watch the games for free. And there you go. So this weekend, Blackpool will be his last game, and hopefully it's not a defeat, because that would be an awful way to go out, losing at home to Blackpool. And why would that be? Well, moving on to the preview of tomorrow's game, starting with the history from 11v11.com. Now, there aren't many games between Millwall and Blackpool. Why is that? Blackpool used to be a very, very good team. They were quite high up in the league in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 40s and 50s especially. But they kind of fell off, and we fell off. We went down to Division 3, Division 4. So we never really met each other, really. So we've only had... This is tomorrow's game. This is the latest game, 28th of October 2021. And there's about, 20 games or so over all the years, starting in 1929. These are just the home games, Millwall versus Blackpool. But you can see here, we've only lost 3 times to them. Now, going into, if you watched my QPR preview video, we'd only lost at home to them, was it 4 or 5 times? In 30 odd games. That was an atypical result historically, that we would lose at the Den to QPR. If we lose tomorrow against Blackpool, that will be even worse, because we've only lost 3 times at the Den. 1968, 1969, and 2012. There have been few draws as well, especially in a row. 1973, 1975, 1977. Was that during the 3-day week? Were they afternoon kickoffs? That may have had an effect on that. I don't know. 4 draws in a row there, and 3 draws in a row in the 2000s. In 2000, 2006, 2012. But we are currently on a streak of 4 wins in a row against Blackpool at the Den, which is even worrying, because streaks, they're bound to end. They've got to end sometime. Like, if you were sitting at a roulette table and you saw red, and then another spin, red, and another spin, red, and another spin, red, would you get your chips out and put it in red, or would you go, oh, it's time for black to come up, I think, after 5 in a row? Is that what we're seeing here? Is it time for a Blackpool win against Millwall? Or at least for that winning streak to end? Hopefully not, because we really need that win. And we need, not only do we need it, we don't need a win. We need to win well. We need to win with a game plan that works. We don't need a win that papers over the cracks, which I think is what the Cardiff win was. We had problems. We won against Cardiff, and everyone was like, "Wait, well, we're not that bad." We did get lucky in that Cardiff game. We didn't get lucky in the QPR game. We basically played the same as QPR. We watched yesterday's video, in the stats video. We had 12 shots, 4 on target, no goals. They had 13 shots, 4 on target, 2 goals. We beat them for tackles, we beat them for aerial duels, we beat them for possession. The stats look fine, except up front. The passing up front is not very good. So, there you go. So there's the historical record. Moving on now to a bit more recently. Let's start with the match facts on the right. There have been under 2.5 goals scored in 8 of Mill's last 10 games. Mill have won their last 4 home matches against Blackpool in all competitions. Yes, we just touched on that. Mill have seen over 2.5 goals in their last 4 home matches against Blackpool in all competitions. So recently in the Championship, we're under 2.5 goals. But in our last 4 matches against Blackpool, it's been over 2.5 goals. So, as we can see, we do generally. You've seen 2-1, 3-0, 2-1, 3-1. Only 1 clean sheet in those 4 wins, by the way. Again, we need to win. If we score the first goal, that would be good. If we concede the first goal, will the players have enough to bounce back from that? Because the QPR defeat was a big blow, and it might carry on in their minds that there's something wrong here. The fans get on their back. Not only that, look at that. The last 2 games, they've had a player sent off. If we don't get that bit of luck tomorrow with one of theirs getting sent off, Millwall scored at least 2 goals in their last 4 home matches against Blackpool in all competitions. There you go. So last season, they had a player sent off. Season before that, the game, that was 5 years before that, they had a player sent off. And you can see these last 6 games at the Den, we've won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. With 12 goals for us, 7 conceded, 14 yellow cards for us, and 13 yellow cards for them, and the 2 red cards. So you would say historically and recently, this is a game we should be winning. If we don't win, there's problems. Here we go. Here's the table as it stands. We are 19th. 19th. We have won 1 game in our last 6. We've got 3 wins, 1 draw, and lost 5. They've won 3, drawn 2, and lost 4. Same goals against 9 and 13. Again, if we win this is a game we should be winning. We got up to 13 points, stay on 11. We leapfrog them. And everything seems a bit more rosier than it was. How is their away form though? So last time out, midweek, they lost 3-0 at Rotherham. They beat Huddersfield 1-0. They drew with Burnley. That's better than we did against Burnley. Not only that, they kept fighting right to the end. I believe they were 3-1 down. They came back to 3-3. They won away at QPR. They won away at Stoke City. That was a friendly though. Something City, maybe Salford City. 1-0. At Stoke, they lost 2-0. Okay, so they're a bit schizoid. They are all over the place. They failed to score in only 2 of their games, and they kept a clean sheet in 2 of their away games as well, not including that friendly. But they conceded 3 against Burnley, but they attacked, and they got 3 themselves. But then against Huddersfield and QPR, they obviously had a good defence, and they nicked the game 1-0. I don't know what happened at Rotherham though. Maybe they tried to defend and it didn't quite work out. But we will see. Which Blackpool are we going to get to see tomorrow? Now Millwall, obviously last time out, failed to score, conceded 2. Against Cardiff, scored 2, kept a clean sheet. Failed to score against Reading, kept a clean sheet against Stoke, and conceded 2 against Coventry. Again, Millwall a bit schizoid as well. Strengths and weaknesses. Wow, okay. You can see here Millwall have got a lot of weaknesses. Defending against skillful players. Would that be Ilias Chair, who probably should have been man-marked in the midweek? Jesus. Match forecast. Blackpool will score as a result of individual skill. Extremely likely. Probably Shane Lavery, player that we bid for, and then we're told, yeah, you can't buy him because we've got injured strikers, and that caused a bit of friction between the 2 managers online. I don't know if they said anything to each other personally. Mill will steal the ball from the opposition often, and then probably likely give it away again. Millwall will control the game in the opposition's half, which means they're going to sit back and let us pass it around because they know we can't pass for toffee. And we will just, when we're in front of the goal, just pass it around and not actually shoot. We'd pass it around, try to get in the area to get the shot away, and they'll just bank it in the middle of the area and block us out. So let's move on now to the actual prediction from WhoScored.com. We will see what happens. Probably here's what happens. So Gary outplayed the same team twice because obviously Cardiff and QPR are the same, so there's no reason to change. So he kept the same team two games in a row, and it was a complete fucking shithole. So obviously right now, because we lost 2-0 against QPR, he's going to make a load of changes. You can guarantee that he will make a load of changes. He'll probably bring McNamara back in to be more defensive versus Shelton, who's more attacking. Because God forbid we should attack in a proper way rather than the way we're doing. Don't see, unless he wants to go real gung ho and probably bring George Evans in for Cooper or something stupid like that. Maybe bring Honeyman back in and a Phobie. Maybe, I don't know. Drop Vogel somehow. He wasn't really all there on the other day, but we'll see. So Mill boss Garak could make 3 changes with a visit of Blackpool. We guess. I don't know. Anyway, the prediction. Millwall came out on the wrong side of a 2-0 result in the London derby midweek, falling to defeat at home against an Ilias Chair inspired QPR side. The Lions have lost 4 of their last 5 league games and have slipped to 19th in the table. Blackpool were taken apart in the latter stages of Wednesday night as they left Yorkshire with nothing to show from a 3-0 away defeat against Rotherham. Michael Appleton's side have won just 1 of their last 5 championship matches. So similar to Millwall then. And they predict Millwall 0, Blackpool 0. David Pratton, what does he predict? So, David Pratton predicts Millwall 1, Blackpool 0. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I literally have no idea. After the way we played against QPR, I mean, I'm really doubtful that there's anyone at the ship who knows what they're doing. We're rudderless, aimlessly adrift, without plan or action, motivation, all the buzzwords. I think narratively the story is I think Shane Lavery plays and he probably scores a hat trick. Wouldn't surprise me. I think we're going to lose 3-1. I think Blackpool are going to beat us 3-1. I think the reason, probably because of that, I think we're going to get a red card. I think we may very well get a red card. I think there's going to be a response against the QPR game that you need to be a bit more aggressive. And that's going to lead to a sending off. Probably from one of the centre backs, which is going to compound our problems in that area with Hutch and Leonard injured. So probably look to see, I would guess, Murray Wallace probably getting sent off. Just a guess randomly. I don't know. Yeah, and I think we're going to lose 3-1. So on that note, I hope it doesn't happen, but yeah, goodbye.